Hello and welcome everyone to Where Life Resumes. Today we will talk about pretty much the same things we have been talking about for the last 10 days. It is the upcoming Australia series. A little bit on what we can expect, also a little bit on Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli. There will not be a discussion until that series happens, which won't feature the two of them. So there will definitely be talks about it. There will also be a little bit of talks about the India West Indies series that has just gone by, India's successful triumph against the West Indies and a few contrasts here and there that were observed. And to talk about it all, we have with us Anurag Pisara, someone who has been there right in amidst everything that has been happening around. He's worked with IPL teams in the past, he's worked with a few sports channels, he's worked with the Olympics as well while that was happening. And he's just right there in the center of everything that's going around. So there will be a great insight from him as well. Also, in terms of how the content creators or the creators also delve in these kind of scenarios. So do stick around and let us know what your thoughts are in the comments. But firstly, welcome Nurag to Where Life Resumes. It's great to have you here. First and foremost, it's the Australia series that is coming up. Whatever we say, whatever we talk about, yes, there has been an India West Indies series that has gone by. Yes, there is a Women's World Cup, which is having a lot of things in itself to talk about. Still, a lot of us cricket fans are still associated to that India Australia series, which will start this coming Sunday. One
Yeah,
of the biggest reasons for that is the return of Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma. It will be 223 days since we last saw them in action playing for India. The last time was the Champions Trophy final that India
final,
won.
yeah.
And to come back to see them in Australia playing for India, we don't know how much longer we got of them on the ground, but just every moment from now onwards till whenever it is, be it 27 World Cup or be it before that, it's gonna be a celebration, isn't it?
It definitely is going to be, Sumit. It's something we've been talking about in the last few days also. Uh, there has been an air of a mix of excitement plus disappointment, yes, because obviously Rohit Sharma not being the captain is one point which we'll talk about later. But um I think now we know the end is near, and the worst part is that end could be at any moment. It could come anytime, and we know both Rohit and Virat. They are not very dramatic people. One random day, they're just going to drop a post and literally disappear. They both have, the proclivity to do certain things like that. But yeah, man, I think. See, again, in India, Australia bilateral is the only bilateral that I ever look forward to. I'll be very honest. As especially limited overs cricket. Otherwise, it's just cricket happening. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's not. Test series. There are a few other teams that we obviously enjoy, but India, Australia, any format, any bilateral, it's always going to be fun. And yeah, see again, and both these players, there's a different kind of an emotional attachment, at least for me and a lot of people my age, yourself, I'm sure as well, because these are people that we've seen right from the beginning since they were 17, 18-year-old players, like at the under 19 level, Rohit Sharma with that baby face at the 2017 T20 World Cup, playing some outrageous knocks in very important matches. So yeah, and to see them from there to blossom into legends of Indian cricket, and we've seen them have some very bad times when they were criticized horribly, when people said they were not good enough, people said they are the greatest that the game has ever seen. Everything they've experienced, and we've experienced that with them too. So when that moment comes where they eventually do pull the plug, I think it's gonna hit very, very hard. But there is still a little bit left, and each one of these remaining moments, I mean, remaining matches, is going to be a different kind of a celebration. Like every time they walk into bat, the roar is going to be different. Every time they hit a boundary, the cheer is going to be different, and every social media post about them, the traction is going to be different. uh, it's going to be one of those matches where everyone is going to be glued to the seats, and it's just going to be a bilateral. So I'm very much looking forward to it. And uh, once Ravi Shastri said about Gondapa Vishwanath, it's just a fleeting thought. It was a fleeting thought, but he just said towards the end of his career, that's when I started to truly realize what an amazing cricketer that was. And I think that's going to be the case with a lot of fans. I know there's a lot of rivalry between the fans as well, but I hope that that shithousery comes down a bit in the during the series, because 3 matches now, we don't know how much more. Uh, I am very much looking forward to it, and I hope it extends until 2027, because I think both are very much capable of it. And Rohit Sharma looks fitter than I've honestly ever seen him before. I'm going to be very honest. He's That's a sign, right? At the age of 38, he's putting in such hard yards. He wants to play. So, I mean, the selectors and everyone, they can tell a lot of things, but off the field, they're really putting the efforts to, make it seem like they want to play. So it's difficult to not believe that they don't want to. Uh, so yeah, man, supremely looking forward to it. It's going to be epic.
Yeah, and it is, as you rightly said, like these two have seen all the struggle, and even then they have been very vocal of the fact that they want to play the 27 World Cup. And you can see it. Like putting hard yards in has not been a problem for either of them. They have been doing it for the longest of times.
Yeah, yeah,
It has never been a problem with Virat at all. With Rohit Sharma, you can see how fit he is back again. So they are putting everything that they have on the line, and if this is to extend for a longer time, if even if it means that they have to go back to Vijay Hazare and play, I don't think they will create any
back
fuss
down.
about it. They're quietly going
Yeah,
just like they did for Ranji as well. Just I am hoping that it does not happen like it happened in Ranji, where they had one bad match and then they came out and announced their retirement. So maybe things will be different. But one interesting point, or in fact two things that you said, one was the fact that how our generation has seen that transformation from those young boys to established cricketers to then be called legends. And that journey in itself has so many memories, like every single part of it. You think of the initial years of Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Virat more so in longer formats, Rohit Sharma in T20s, to have Virat in a World Cup final as well, to play that crucial knock, even though it was 33 runs, it was very important at that point of time. Uh,
yeah,
from there to see Rohit Sharma blossom into an opener from that Champions Trophy onwards, I think our generation is probably the luckiest because when we were growing up, I think one of the series that has hallmarked every single bilateral ODI is that 2013
2013, man,
Australia series. Every
unreal,
single
unreal.
bit of it. It still gives me goosebumps to think every single match in that series. The ones that India lost, the ones that India won, they were right neck to neck. And it was just a
So
privilege to
good.
watch Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli bat. I think it was one of those
Yeah, yeah,
where Sunil Gavaskar himself also said that we might have glimpsed the future of Indian cricket, and that was to
yeah,
happen.
yeah.
It just stayed around, and that has been a very very integral memory of mine as well.
True.
On the
Yeah.
other hand, a very different was the rivalry between the fans that you said of the two players. There has always been that comparison, right? Who is better, Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma? But only a few could have realized that it was Rohit because of whom Virat could play the kind of game he did. And it was Virat because of whom Rohit was almost free at the top as well because they balanced each other so very well.
And they backed each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was always very pinpoint, and it's just kind of fitting, even though sad, that all their careers might end together. The T20 career ended together, the Test career
The
ended
test
together,
nearly, yes, yes.
and most likely the ODI career will also end together. And that is it's a lot more poetic. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
you think there is going to be a farewell for them back in India if it happens, or it's something that is too early to talk about, and we will just have to wait till it comes?
I think we're being a bit negative about it. I think, I see again, even the negativity is stemming out of some decisions that were taken recently for Rohit Sharma to be dropped out of captaincy, and the history of both these players. They both have Rohit Sharma. Ne to, matlab, he just put an Instagram story today. He did not even bother to post about it. Like, uh, so like they are capable of just dropping an announcement out of the blue. So that fear is always going to be there, and I don't know. I think I hope there will be a good send off for them. That's something I would definitely hope for, but it is something that cannot be guaranteed in the current circumstance. I think because uh, see, if I think just speaking from a team perspective, if you don't want both of them at the 2027 World Cup, it's better you tell them well before and probably end it right away, because those are two heavy shoes to fill. We have great talented players, obviously, yes, there is no question about it. But you need to give them time, and I don't want this to happen towards the end of 2026, like just few months before both these pillars, absolute legends of the game, retiring and leaving that huge hole. We have great players, man. There is absolutely no. We have Jayaswal and all of these people, but it could be a little intimidating for them to step into an ICC tournament. 50 over cricket, it has its own challenges, and it's not going to be easy for any of these. In their own right, they're already a star player. Yeah, like some of them are, they're already star players, but it's not going to be easy for them. So I hope the transition is smooth, if it is the case, or else I think I would still say better stick with them, which is still a very good thing to do, because both of them are pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, and the very important thing here is going to be the communication between players. Communication also between the new captain, Shubman Gill, who is officially almost there, completing his transition as an all format captain for India. He will soon be in T20s as well, I'm sure. But even for Shubman Gill, the one thing he said very up there was the fact that he wants to develop the kind of relations that Rohit Sharma did with the players. We have had styles of captaincies in Indian cricket, right from the fact where Virat Kohli was a lot more in your face and more a captain who led from the front. There was Rohit Sharma who had,
Rohit Sharma was no. Rohit Sharma's team was
yes,
no less. I think sometimes we take this for granted because Virat, was more openly at it, but even his team was no less.
yes, Rohit Sharma, of course, they almost led the same team perhaps. Or
Yeah, yeah,
it's the fact where even Shubman Gill might lead the same team that Rohit Kohli led. And that's the vision
yeah,
of the two players as well. That talks again about how their captaincy stints were. But to also have Rohit Sharma, who created those kind of atmosphere within the Indian team, he complemented very well with someone like Rahul Dravid as coach. So that
yeah.
emulating the kind of environment we had in say 2023 World Cup or the Champions Trophy as well. It's you could see the dressing room and it felt contagious. Like even if you were seeing
Mm.
1 minute snippets of what they do in dressing room, there was a smile that would come onto our faces as fans as well. So to have that environment, to have that clear communication, and just start an onset of a new era of Indian cricket, I think there is a little bit or a lot more on Shubman Gill as well.
Um, yes, it is. I mean, see, again, I think how Shubman is as a person, it's gonna be a huge test of character for him, on more on a personal level. I think this is captaincy is always gonna be, it's something that you have to go above and beyond to make, to accommodate a lot of players. It's a lot of uncomfortable discussions. It's about putting a hand on the shoulders of some players who are not getting enough chances, and making them believe that they will get their chances at some point or not, whatever it is, to keep the morale high. It's going to be a very tricky task. Uh, if the team could, I see again. I have conflicting thoughts on Shubman being given the captaincy, but I would like to think, since he's gotten it, I think probably he has that rapport with the team and each other and the players. We've seen him like he's probably like a friend with some almost all of them, and the younger players as well that are there with Shubman. Like he's played with a lot of them right from many years at the under 19 level, etc. So he seems to have that rapport with the players already, which is a good thing, and he's taking over from a very good environment that Rohit had set up. So it should not ideally be much of a challenge for him to, it's not like how Ganguly took over, or how Graham Smith came into South Africa at very turbulent times. It's not such a case. So I mean the I wouldn't say it's put on a platter to him, but it is kind of. So I mean, best wishes to him. If he can lead us forward to great heights, nothing better.
Yes, and I think the fact that he's already a test captain and that England series has happened, it was definitely a pleasant surprise for a lot of us in India on how well India played down in England. Uh, and that will definitely give him confidence going into the ODI setup. Uh, However, one of the biggest things, and I think it's not just about Shubman Gill and Team India building up to 2027, might be about world cricket overall, is the diminishing existence of the ODIs. there are not a lot of ODIs being played. There is World
Yeah,
Championship that keeps tests going. There is a T20 World Cup every other year that keeps the T20 World Cup going. Or the bilateral T20s going, even on the financial front. So ODIs somewhere face the brunt of it. There are
yeah,
barely 12 that India play in the next 12 months. I'm sure there will be a lot more that will come in once the World Cup approaches. But now, there are two things that I want to digress into. One is, how do we structure ODIs in itself? I know there was a ODI cricket league that there was an ODI league as well that happened to give ODIs a structure between the
yeah. A bit like the
bilateral.
WTC,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
but it didn't garner as much attention as maybe the WTC does. But that existence of ODIs, and also with respect to that comes in the test and how tests are being perceived. We'll come into the test topic later, but just more on so on the ODIs itself. Do you think there needs to be something that ICC needs to actively do, or are we just supposed to be content with the fact that ODIs are just going to be a 4 year affair or a 2 year affair as and when the World Cup comes in?
See, again, I don't know what, again, it's a very difficult question to answer because, okay, we can tell what the ICC can or cannot do, but it's eventually down to how much people are interested, right? I think, see, cricket is always has always been a sport that consumes more time of people than any other prime time sport. If you look at it, like football is max 3 to 4 hours. Like if you're even traveling to the stadium, it won't be more than a 4 5 hour affair. Like and you look at any other major sport, it's gonna be that. Probably tennis is slightly here and there, but yeah, cricket has always been, especially ODIs and tests have been, these 8 9 hour commitments that the fans sometimes might not have, and rightly so. And this is where you start noticing that people will prioritize, and this is where the advent of T20 cricket totally ruined it for ODI cricket. I mean, all the fans, they're gonna keep telling, "Oh my God, Test cricket is best cricket, ODI cricket, oh what a royal format, etc., etc." But this is happening for a very legit reason. Whatever the diminishing aspect of it, whatever that is, uh, it is happening because of a very valid reason. People are very busy. People do not have as much time to spend, and it's something you have to openly accept. So I think what we've seen is also uh, yeah, what we've seen the organizations like the cricketing boards do over the last few years is also work towards it in a sense that there are more T20s happening, and we can slowly see that switch is happening. In our lifetime, probably there might come a day where ODIs is strictly restricted to cricket. There's a good writer, a friend of mine, who said this thing about cricket. Cricket is the only format where each format holds its own true value. T20 cricket is bringing the money. ODI cricket is the royal format because, I mean, it's the ODI World Cup is the one that eventually everyone wants to win, and Test cricket is the most royal format, and it's the most everyone thinks succeeding there is the ultimate parameter. So there is no other sport which provides a triple blend like this. So for that to exist, obviously there needs to be a few ODIs here and there, which is happening right now. I don't think there is going to be much of an improvement to what exists right now. And there's always going to see what we saw in Ahmedabad with the test match. There wasn't a big crowd turning up. We might see that with other ODI series as well. So that is a legit threat. But again, I've spoken about it for a long period of time without really getting to a point. But I don't think there's going to be much of a change in a good way. Like I think if you are a very, very hardcore ODI cricket fan, which not a lot of people are, I mean, there are obviously we all love the ODI World Cup, and that's one tournament that really gears us all up. But bilateral ODIs, as far as that is concerned, even people, the hardcore fans have always found it difficult to spend as much time. And we'll see. I think there will be efforts put in to keep it alive because you obviously need that as a uh, you know lead up to the main tournament. But again, I think it's the number is always going to be coming down. Eventually, Test cricket will take precedence as far as bilaterals are concerned. Uh, and T20s will always be there because the money is right there. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
But if that happens, I think we could see that football kind of a scenario where, I know you don't watch a lot of football, but the number of international matches that happen are very less. So amidst like 70% of 70, even more, 75, 80% of club football happens throughout the year. 20% of the time international football happens. But that one year where the football World Cup is there, that is the one year where everything across the world, the whole tone, the epicenter of the footballing world turns to that football World Cups becomes that. So we could probably witness that scenario where the ODI cricket and the number comes down, but eventually when the main tournament comes, it's gonna be like absolutely normal, like as it always has been.
Yeah, it will be a festival, and the world cricket, as you rightly said, is overall changing. It's getting a lot more fast paced. So,
Yeah,
I like the analogy that you had in terms of how three formats are very distinct, and maybe I agree in
yeah,
the fact that ODIs will change and they will be only relevant in World Cup years or around that. Uh, and one interesting point you did say, and a perfect segue to
hmm,
talk about our next topic, is the fact that the crowd commitment change is changing.
yeah,
Watch a test cricket to watch a test match, 7 hours for 5 days, just the cricket game, get all the logistics out. Even then, for 7 hours for 5 days is not something everyone is committed to, or even for one,
yeah,
even as well. And you could see that stark difference in the two test matches that India played against West Indies. The first
very
one
much,
in
yeah.
Ahmedabad, almost in an empty stadium. The second one in Delhi, despite it starting on a weekday, I think had a lot of crowd. There was a buzz. There was people cheering on. There was so much excitement overall in the crowd as well. Even in a game such as India West Indies, where India's already won very easily in like 2.5 days on the first test. Even then, the crowd turn up was great. And what it brings me to is my question that probably Virat Kohli had asked 8 or 10 years ago. There should be five test centers. That's period. If the visiting team is coming in, they should know that these are the 5 or 7 places I'm gonna play in. And that's gonna help them prepare. That's gonna make the series competitive, and that keeps Test cricket alive in terms of crowd management. He was bold enough to say it in the face of the management of the BCCI as well, saying that this is
Long
something
ago,
that
yeah.
needs to be done. Uh, and if things have to transform in that way, do you see that change very important right now, just given how crowds have turned up across venues?
I hope so, man, because see, I think at the time when Virat said that, it wasn't a very flying topic. And when Virat said it, it kind of took a lot of people by surprise. And as somebody who doesn't exactly belong to a very, I mean, see, obviously Hyderabad is a decent center for cricket, but again, it's not as prominent as some of the other cities. We don't get as much cricket. So, as somebody who belongs to such a city, I felt a little weird. I didn't know how to interpret that. Why would you want to restrict cricket to only a few cities? That's a feeling that I had. But again, I mean, just for my defense, Hyderabad has always had very big crowds for Test cricket. But again, I- the point is getting validated with every passing year. Uh, there are a lot of venues where people are not turning up. It's period. But that suggestion in one different way BCCI has implemented, and that was with the WPL. They started with one venue. They started with two venues. They went to three. They kept it restricted to the main cities where there is more. Not main cities. I mean, I don't want to use that term, but again, uh,
The
you
crowd
get my
turns up
point.
more.
Exactly. So they have been the bigger epicenters for a longer period of time. So the crowd does turn up more over there. So I get. I have a feeling there will be more conversations about this in the coming days. That probably we might want to look at 6 or 7 venues and just keep playing test cricket overall there. But the problem here would be, Sumit, like there are a lot of places, a lot of cities in this country, they are still building stadiums out of the hope that they will get big international cricket. You remember after the 2024 World Cup, the Maharashtra Chief Minister had announced we'll build the world's biggest stadium. In my neighboring state, in Andhra, there is even the chief minister there. There's actually apparently a stadium in works, like in no, I don't know if it's in construction yet, but there is a talk about a very huge stadium, like almost bigger than what we have in Ahmedabad.
Yeah,
So
Bihar
that is
also
in
built one, which is
Bihar has one exactly. I was coming there. So there are new stadiums coming in, and all of them want cricket to kind of boost what they're doing, right? So it's always going to be. It's this is a very challenging thing to pull off in in the Indian setup. But I hope it happens. And see, again, I don't want to watch. I don't want to watch a test match happening where there's absolutely like empty stands everywhere. That's definitely not something that should be happening in India with the kind of craze that is there in this country. But I want that to happen, but you never know the kind of pressures that BCCI has to deal with internally. It's never going to be an easy thing to pull off.
yeah, for sure. That's something that BCCI will definitely have to take a look at. It is something maybe
Hmm.
the Indian captain, the new captain, will also have a say in, because the captains do dictate where the teams are headed. So that will be an interesting thing to look at. But one of the, again, another great segue that you put in, and just to tell everyone who's watching, we did not plan this out, but he talked about the Women's Premier League and how that crowd kind of grew when it came to cities. Right,
Yeah,
when the Women's Premier League was extended, the crowd started to come in a lot more in those new cities as well. And that trend has followed into the World Cup. You had
yeah,
record crowd turn up at the ICC Women's Cricket World Cup that's currently happening, where India played their first games in Guwahati. That was a record crowd. There has been consistent crowds across everywhere where India has played. Even in Colombo, when they played, there was a decent crowd there as well.
yeah.
So throughout that World Cup, there is enough traction that the World Cup is getting, that women's cricket is getting, which is absolutely phenomenal to see. However, the caveat here, and rather the biggest one, is how this Indian women's team is at the World Cup right now. 4 matches, 2 wins, 2 losses. The losses hurt because of the way they have lost against South Africa, against Australia, both defending a total. There was somewhere a hint of not having enough options with the ball when it came to Australia. There was somewhere a hint of not doing enough with the ball just to defend those last few runs against South Africa. But now they do find themselves in an absolute spot of bother. Rather important to defeat both England and New Zealand in the coming games, even to be in contention for that semi final spot.
Yes, I think it's the manner of defeats were slightly disappointing, but the South Africa one for me was a little more disappointing. And Australia again is a very superior team. Still, as much as we keep developing, they're still ahead of us. That's one area where it's going to take a bit of time for us to really step on the pedal and match them. But Alisa Healy, once she started hitting, I knew, man, this was absolutely not our day, and I was surprised by the fact. My surprise was that it at least went close, and there was a point where we thought probably something could happen. The fight was, I think, I would still say decent, but the South Africa one was a little disappointing because we were absolutely in pole position. We were like we got the big wickets early up. The people who were in form, we got them, and then for us to not convert it into a win was a little disappointing. But again, uh, I still think we will make it to the top four. Uh, I think among see again, I think that one position is gonna be between India and New Zealand or South Africa. I think between these three teams, two teams are gonna take make it to the final four, right? I think England and Australia are kind of in a good position right now. They probably will consider themselves one step into the into the knockouts. And yes, the crowd turn up has been very positive to see. But I still maintain the opinion. I'm not saying these cities should not have gotten the matches. They surely should, and I'm very glad that all of these stadiums are filling up, proving a lot of people wrong. That is true. But again, to deny the women's sport of the big stadiums in this country, like Ahmedabad, why do you have that stadium when you can't host a World Cup final? What is the purpose of its existence? It's exactly the kind of event that you've planned it for. I mean, Uh, uh, I don't know. I would have I've really loved to see an India knockout match or a final, India playing in a knockout match or a final at Ahmedabad with, like, I know it's not the most amazing environments, like obviously Wankhede and some other stadiums have really built themselves into something bigger. Bangalore has its own problems right now. It's not one venue to be. It's in contention right now, like, for understandable reasons. But I still think when you have a 95,000 lakh capacity stadium, imagine, I think one women's match that still gives me chills was the 2020, I think, the T20 World Cup, the Women's T20 World Cup that happened in Australia.
The Melbourne.
Uh, Melbourne final, where obviously they battered the shit out of us again. But 95,000 people turned up, the most for a women's cricket game to this day. And it was one of the biggest crowds ever to turn up at a women's sporting event. So we have the chances right there. The crowd is excited. You put the tickets on sale. That definitely was going to happen. That record was there to be broken, and it's a disappointment that some of these other big stadiums are not even put into consideration. But yeah, I'm very glad, regardless of all of that negativity. I think people are still. I've seen a lot of my friends who are putting a lot of effort into traveling to these cities, which are not very easy, and still making a huge effort to uh, watch the match, regardless of where they're from. So the support is right there. It needs to be backed. I think right now anything less than a World Cup win and the fans will be disappointed. I get that, but that's
Yeah,
it
there.
could happen. It might not happen. We have the capability. I'd like make no mistake. I think still within the team. Once I think there's some fitness issue with Renuka. If that can be solved and we can just get that extra bowler, and I think we could have really had a decent time in both those South Africa and Australia matches with that extra bowler.
That was going to be my
Uh,
next question. In fact, like that
yeah,
itself that India has to take is whether they go for that extra batting option that they have been very much sticking to, or they go to that extra bowler option in Renuka Singh that gives them the sixth bowling option, but then that does not deepen the batting as much, and the batting hasn't clicked. Except for that Australia game, I don't think the batting's clicked. Even in that Australia game, India lost last 6 wickets for just 36 runs or something. So
fair enough.
the batting hasn't clicked either, and that's just a compromise that India is making on one or the other departments, and that's what's facing the brunt. Like, how difficult or how easy is it to find that balance, or where would you go to? Would you put that extra sixth bowling option in there somewhere at the cost of a batter?
I personally would, bro. Like I really am not a big fan of extra batting depth being kept for the heck of it. Honestly, on the day of the Asia Cup final, when Shivam Dube was the fifth choice bowler, and he was the only other bowler who could take, like, seam bowler who could take new ball. I think that was such a ridiculous choice. I still stand by it. Obviously, I'm not against Shivam Dube as a cricketer. Obviously, he's amazing, but he cannot be a fifth choice bowler. You cannot burden him. To his credit, he did a magnificent job. I think he deserves a lot of credit because the management put him in such a very horrible position. Imagine, as a player, this is not your strength, and you are asked to take the new ball with it, and he still did a decent job. Massive kudos to him. Like, I did not expect that he would really rise and shine the way he did with the bat and with the ball. Obviously, I mean, it's not because I don't believe in the player. It's because of the situation he was put in. But again, when you do this, this is what is going to happen. See, I always think a bowler can bat, a batter can't bowl.
Yeah.
That's something. If it's a 70 if there's a cricketer who's 70% a batter or 30% a bowler, that person is not going to be of much use with the ball. Reverse it, he's a 70% a bowler, 30% a batter. Now, just a player like, let's say, Nishant Sharma, so many times with the bat, he was obviously not the best with the bat. There's so many times he was just useful in just sticking one end. And you look at the Australian tail, not just the men's. Obviously, I was referring to the men's one, but even the women's team the other day, the wickets were falling, wickets were tumbling, but still, one big name after another was coming, whom we knew can bat,
And the game
who has
changer
done
there
decent
was
jobs.
Tim Garth, a bowler who dared to
Who
reverse swing
exactly,
Tirana.
exactly. I mean, that was so frustrating a fall. But again, see, you can keep arguing a lot of things about this. I think both the men's and women's team right now is so much more into this batting depth, which I'm not a big fan of, because it really puts us in precarious positions in very crucial games. Um I don't know, man. I would still prefer a team with with that extra bowling option rather than that extra batting option.
Even
It does put.
ODIs, I think
Hmm,
that's important, right? It's not just about having like it's in T20s you have a lot more options. You like to play with
hmm,
seven or eight, and as the format grows, if it's an ODI, going in with just five is almost unfair. You need that sixth change up somewhere. I know Harmanpreet has been taking the ball here, but there might not be
hmm.
as much things to explore there. So maybe someone like Renuka or an Arundhati Reddy comes in, keeps India intact. And to our surprise, even in Indian pitches, fast bowlers have done well in a few conditions. Yes, the last one
Yeah,
in Australia against Australia was an exception in that. But just overall, the fast bowlers have done really well when it comes to this entire Indian format. And in a World Cup, which was supposed to be spin dominant, the fast bowlers are also making heads turn, and it's
yeah,
an achievement. So it will be very interesting to see where India is headed, and we will be here to talk about the World Cup as well as the time comes, as we approach to the business end of the tournament, as we say. But it's been a great few half an hour or few minutes with talking about everything. We have started from just from 2007s and 8s and how Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli started to have come now, and we have been talking
yeah.
about how the World Cup has been progressing. So it's been a lot that we have covered. And I hope for everyone who's watching, it's been a great joy as well. Thank you, Anurag, firstly, for joining. It is always great talking cricket with you. And I hope
Nice one.
everyone who is watching sticks around. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And we will bring more discussions your way soon.